Hello everyone. I welcome you all to the News Analysis Initiative. As everyone knows, yesterday budget was announced. So today we will be having a lot of articles related to budget. So we will discuss one by one. The first article for the day, capital expenditure scale up. The Union Budget 2026-27 presented by our Finance Minister focuses on increasing economic growth, creating jobs, improving productivity, strengthening infrastructure, and integrating India more with global markets. The key highlight is a major increase in capital expenditure by the central government. Now, what is capital expenditure? Which means money spent on building assets that create long term benefits. For example, roads, railways, ports, waterways, power plants, industrial corridors. Now, why is that important? Because it creates jobs, boosts private investment, improves productivity, supports long term GDP growth. Unlike subsidies or salaries, capital expenditure gives permanent assets. Now, the key highlights are the first is the capital expenditure increase. The target is around 12.2 lakh crore rupees. Earlier year it was 10.9 to 11.2 lakh crore rupees. This shows strong infrastructure push. The second is global integration strategy. Now India will export more, attract stable long-term foreign investment and stay integrated with global supply chains. So this helps foreign exchange earnings, manufacturing growth and technology transfer. Number 3, customs duty reductions. Reduced duties to promote exports of marine products, leather, textiles. And this also supports energy transition, that is clean energy inputs will become cheaper. Number 4, infrastructure projects announced. The important examples here are rare earth mineral corridors in Odisha, Kerala, Andhra Pradesh, and Tamil Nadu, national waterways in Odisha, East Coast Industrial Corridor, and dedicated freight corridor. The major aim here is to improve the logistics and lower transport cost. See, the budget is structured around three priorities and they are known as three kartavyas. Kartavya 1, which is growth and productivity. This focuses on manufacturing, infrastructure, MSMEs, energy security, and industry revival. So the target here is higher GDP and competitiveness. Kartavya 2, which is human capital. This focuses on education, skill development, healthcare, services sector jobs, and AVGC, which is animation, gaming, design, or you can know it as orange economy. So the target here is employment generation. Kartavya 3 is inclusive development, which focuses on farmers' income, vulnerable groups, Divyang welfare, mental health support, and regional balance. The target here is social equity. See the next article for the day, states devolution at 41%, South's share up. See, the Finance Commission of India decides how taxes are shared between centre and states and how money is distributed among states. The 16th Finance Commission has recommended that states will continue to get 41% of the centre's tax revenue. The Union government has accepted this recommendation. This maintains India's commitment to fiscal federalism. Now, what is tax devolution? Tax devolution means share of central taxes automatically transferred to states. Now, why this is important? Because states need funds for health, education, agriculture, infrastructure, and welfare schemes. It gives financial autonomy, less dependence on center, and stronger federalism. Now, we will look into the key recommendations. Number 1 is vertical devolution. Now, what is vertical devolution? Sharing between center and all states together. Now, the decision is state's share will be 41%, which is same as before. Now, why it is not reduced? Because center already collects many cesses and surcharges and these are not shared with states and this has already reduced the divisible pool. Number 2 is horizontal devolution, which is state versus states. Now, what is horizontal devolution? Sharing of the 41% among states. The formula has been changed. The new formula, the weightage criteria, which is very important from prelims perspective. Now, the criteria given are income distance, per capita gross state domestic product. That is the gap between them. The second is the population, then the area, forest cover and demographic performance. Now the key idea here is this focus shifted slightly. Now the less penalty for population control and more recognition for population and area, and still strong support to poorer states. Now what are the impact on southern states? Because of the formula changes, 5 southern states gain higher share. If you take Andhra Pradesh, the older share was 4.04%. Now it is 4.217%. Karnataka from 3.6 to now it has increased to 4.1. Kerala from 1.9 to 2.3. Tamil Nadu from 4.07 to 4.09. And Telangana from 2.1 to 2.17. Now, what are Finance Commission grants? Apart from tax devolution, 1.4 lakh crore rupees given as grants, including rural local bodies, urban local bodies, and disaster management. This strengthens grassroots governance, that is, panchayats and municipalities. The next article for the day, customs procedures to get simpler. First, what is customs duty? Customs duty is nothing but a tax on imports, that is to protect domestic industry, also raise revenue. The purpose here is to protect local manufacturers, regulate trade, generate revenue, and support strategic sectors. Now, what are the changes in basic customs duty? Now, the duty has been increased mainly to protect domestic industry. Now, what are the changes in the basic customs duty? Now, the duty has been increased for potassium hydroxide. Earlier, it was 0. Now, it is 7.5%. So, this raises the cost for chemicals, soaps and detergents and batteries. The second is the umbrella. That is ₹20% or ₹60 per piece, whichever is higher. This curb cheap imports. The third is chewing tobacco. Higher national calamity contingent duty of 60%. The objective here is to protect domestic producers and discourage harmful products. Now the duty is reduced on certain items like personal imports. Earlier it was 20%, now it is reduced to 10%, and seafood export imports like duty free limit has been increased here. Earlier it was 1%, now it is 3%. And the another one is advance authorization export time. This is now extended to 1 year. Earlier it was 6 months. So the objective here is we are promoting the exports and also lowering the input cost. So the next article for the day is Finance Minister hands out a mixed bag for capital markets. As everyone know, yesterday's NSE and BSE has actually fallen by 2%, and the major reason is because of this. Now, what are capital markets? Capital markets are places where companies raise money, investors buy or sell financial assets. It includes equity market, that is shares, bond market, which are debt, and derivatives markets, which are futures and options. The main purpose here is to mobilize savings, fund infrastructure and business growth, and also support economic development. So, what are the measures? First is the higher tax on derivatives. The major aim here is to reduce the speculative trading. Now, what has been changed? Securities transaction tax has been increased. For futures, the old one was 0.02%. Now, it is increased to 0.05%. If you take options premium, it was 0.1%. Now, it is 0.15%. And options exercise, it was 0.125%. Now it is 0.15. Now, why this has been done? Mainly to reduce excessive speculation, discourage short-term trading and stabilize markets. So the impact here will be the traders will be unhappy, short-term volatility may reduce, and markets initially fell, as I said earlier, by 2%. The second measure here is more foreign or NRI investment. Now, who benefits? Persons resident outside India. The changes introduced are these persons can invest in listed Indian equities and the individual limit has been increased, that is from 5% to 10%. Now, why it is important? Because more foreign capital inflow will happen, stronger markets, higher liquidity and rupee stability. The third measure is strengthening bond markets. The first one is the municipal bonds. They are providing 100 crore rupees incentive and for issuance above 1000 crore rupees. The purpose here is to help cities raise funds finance urban infrastructure, and reduce dependence on government grants. So, this actually improves the urban development financing. The other is the corporate bond market reforms. The proposed one here is corporate bond indices. The purpose is to better price discovery, more investors, and deeper debt markets. The next article for the day, banking sector set for sea change, PFC, REC to be restructured. Now, why banking sector reform now? According to the government, Indian banking sector today has strong balance sheets, high profits, lower NPAs, and banking access in 98% of villages. So, this is seen as the right time for structural reforms, not crisis reforms. The first one is the High Level Committee on Banking for Viksit Bharat. Now, what is proposed? A high level committee. This committee will review the entire financial system, suggest reforms, and prepare banks for future growth. The focus area here are financial stability, financial inclusion, consumer protection, and better lending models. Now, what is this restructuring of PFC and REC? PFC means Power Finance Corporation and REC means Rural Electrification Corporation. Both are energy finance focus. Now, these are public sector NBFCs. They provide loans for power plants, transmission lines, rural electrification, and renewable energy. Now, why restructuring? Mainly to achieve larger scale, reduce duplication, improve efficiency, and finance modern energy needs. So, what is a broader objective by bringing in these kind of reforms? The government's larger vision is seen as a shift from traditional banking to developmental oriented finance, infrastructure funding, energy transition, and long term growth support. The next article for the day, tax holiday for data centers enthusiasts, IT business leaders. Now, what is a data center? A data center is a facility that stores and processes data. It contains servers, cloud systems, storage, and networking equipment. And it is used for cloud computing, AI services, banking, e commerce, and government services. Today, data is seen as a new oil or new sovereign currency, and countries hosting data centers gain investment, jobs, digital control, and strategic power. The key announcement here is the tax holiday. Now, what is proposed? Foreign companies that establish data centers in India will get tax holiday till 2047, that is around 20 years, which means no or very low tax burden and strong incentive to invest. So, the expected impact here is this will attract global tech chains and large FDI inflow will happen here. And India will also be seen as a data storage hub. There is also something known as a safe harbor provision. Now, what is safe harbor? A rule that reduces tax scrutiny and gives fixed tax margins and provides certainty to companies. The changes here are margin fixed at 15 to 15.5 percentage, and the threshold has been increased from 300 crore rupees to 2000 crore rupees, and the final one is the automated approval. Now, what are the benefits because of all these? Less litigation, faster approvals, predictable taxations, and easier business planning. On the whole, this improves ease of doing business. The next article for the day is labor intensive textile sector MSMEs to get new schemes. Now, why focus on textile and MSMEs? Because they are highly labor intensive, big rural and women employment is seen here, and this is one of the major export sector. If you take MSMEs, they are the backbone of economy. Around 30% of the GDP contribution comes from MSMEs, and around 45% exports are also from MSMEs. They are the largest job creator after agriculture. Now, what is the budgetary allocation? For textiles, it is increased by 25% and MSME allocations has been doubled. And this shows strong policy priority. Now, what are the measures taken for textile sector? The first one is infrastructure and modernization. Mega textile parks, modern machinery support, common testing and certification centers, and cluster-based development has been announced. The second is the raw material support, National Fiber Scheme, which focuses on man-made fiber, silk and wool. And this reduces import dependence. Number 3, employment and skill schemes. Textile expansion and employment scheme. Summer scheme 2.0, which focuses on skill development and which improves worker productivity. The fourth one is traditional sector support, which is National Handloom and Handicraft Program, especially Khadi and village industries push, and this supports artisans and rural livelihoods. Number 5, sustainability. Tech's Eco Initiative. This promotes eco-friendly, globally competitive textiles. Now, if we move on to the MSMEs, the first one is known as the tool rooms. These are high-tech tool rooms by central public sector enterprises. The local design and manufacturing of precision components will be done here, and this will help MSMEs access advanced technology cheaply. Number 2, manufacturing boost. Around 10,000 crore rupees for container manufacturing and scheme for construction and infrastructure equipment. This encourages domestic manufacturing, which is in line with the Make in India initiative. Number 3, cluster revival. 200 legacy industrial clusters to be revived, and this will support traditional industries. The fourth is the finance and credit access. TREDS platform, mandatory digital platform for invoice payments. Now, what is TREDS? Because MSMEs can discount their invoices and get their money faster, and this is linked with government e-marketplace and asset-backed securities. So, faster payments and better cash flow, and MSMEs can thrive more. The next article for the day, 10,000 crore rupees dosage for biopharma. Now, what is biopharma? Traditional medicines are made through chemical synthesis. Example, tablets like paracetamol. Biopharmaceuticals are made from living cells, complex molecules. Advanced biotechnology is used here. Examples, vaccines, insulins, cancer therapies, monoclonal antibodies. They are used mainly for serious diseases. Now, why is biopharma important for India? Because India faces rising diabetes, cancer, autoimmune diseases, and other non-communicable diseases. Biologics, that is biopharmaceuticals, improve survival rates and quality of life. Now, the key features of Biopharma Shakti. The financial support of 10,000 crore rupees allocation has been done for a period of 5 years to build domestic manufacturing ecosystem. The next one, there was a keyword known as biosimilars. Now, what are biosimilars? These are cheaper versions of biologic drugs similar to generics but for biologics. So, this makes advanced treatment affordable. See, with respect to education and research infrastructure, new institutes, that is around 3 new National Institute of Pharmaceutical Education and Research will be established, and upgradation of 7 existing centers will also be done. Now, this will improve skilled workforce, research and innovation. See the next article for the day, cheaper cancer drugs, training for 1.5 lakh caregivers. Now, what is announced? 17 cancer related medicines now attracts only 0% basic customs duty, which is nothing but a full exemption is given. If you take rare diseases, 7 more diseases are added for import duty exemption from rare diseases categories, and drugs, medicines and medical foods which are for personal uses, that are also given exemption. Now, why it is important? Because cancer and rare disease drugs are very expensive, often imported, and burden families financially. So now the impact would be lower treatment cost, better access and reduced out-of-pocket expenditure. See, there is another new proposal for 1,000 accredited clinical trial sites. And the purpose is for faster testing of new drugs, attract global pharma companies and improve research capacity. The other important is the 1.5 lakh caregivers, for them training. See, this is done through National Skills Qualification Framework aligned programs, and the skills will include basic nursing care, elderly care, wellness and yoga, and operating medical devices. Why it is important? Because India faces aging population, shortage of doctors and overburdened hospitals. Now the caregivers will reduce pressure on doctors. They will provide home-based care and improve service delivery, and this also promotes community-based healthcare model. Now, if you look at the health budget allocation, It is around 1.05 lakh crore rupees, which is only 6% increase. The key schemes like Ayushman Bharat, it is having around very marginal rise of 9,500 crore rupees. This shows targeted reforms but modest overall spending growth. See, the next important thing is focus on mental health, comprehensive push to scale up the Ayush ecosystems. Now, why mental health focus now? Because the current problems in India are rising stress, depression, anxiety, post pandemic mental health issues, shortage of psychiatrists and psychologists, limited specialized institutions, and urban rural gap in services, because mental health is often neglected compared to the physical health. Now, if you look into the key announcement, a new national institutes, two new national mental health institutes at Ranchi and Tezpur is being announced, and expansion of Nimhans model. The new Nimhans like institute in North India will be set up, and the purpose is to provide specialized treatment, advanced training, research, and regional access. So the expected benefits here is better doctor availability, reduced regional imbalance, more trained professionals, and stronger research capacity. Now, what is Ayush? It includes Ayurveda, Yoga, Unani, Siddha, and homeopathy. This is traditional and preventive healthcare system. If you look into the budget measures, Ayush allocation has been increased. There is a significant rise, like from 3,600 crores to 4,400 crores. So that is a significant rise. And three new All India Institutes of Ayurveda will be set up. And the major purpose here are better education, clinical services, research, and standardization. Now, why Ayush is important? Because of health benefits. It is a preventive care, lifestyle diseases management, and cost effective treatments. If you look into the economic benefits, medical tourism, herbal products exports, and job creation. And it also adds to cultural benefits like promotes indigenous knowledge. See, the next article for the day is New Rural Jobs Scheme gets over 95,000 crore rupees. What is the new scheme? The Vikshit Bharat Guarantee for Rozgar and Ajivika Mission. The purpose is to provide guaranteed rural employment and to replace the earlier MNREGA framework, and the allocation is around 95,000 crore rupees. This is a 43% increase in rural employment spending. And the role of MNREGA, if you take, until the new law is fully implemented, MNREGA will continue. And 30,000 crore has been allocated for that purpose. Now, who will benefit here? Around 8.65 crore active job card holders, they will be benefiting, and the target here is 125 days of guaranteed work per worker. The cost sharing formula is 60:40. 60% will be by the center and 40% will be by the states. So if you look into other rural development support, first we will look into the Panchayats funding. Following the Finance Commission of India's recommendation, 55,900 crore rupees have been directly given to the panchayats, which is to strengthen the local governance. And if you look into the importance of rural employment schemes, this provides economic benefits and social benefits. Economic benefits in terms of income security, rural demand boost, poverty reduction, and access safety net. In terms of social benefits, women participation, migration reduction, and asset creation. And during crisis, this scheme works as an automatic stabilizer. You can take during COVID time. The next article is Coconut, Cocoa, Sandalwood get special attention. See, the union budget announced special support for high value plantation and horticulture crops, especially in coastal and hilly regions. Targeted schemes for coconut, cocoa, cashew, and sandalwood, support for agar trees, especially in northeastern region, and support for nuts in hilly areas. The total allocation here is around 350 crores. The major aim is to improve farmer income, diversification, and export potential. Now, why focus on high value crops? The problem with traditional crops are paddy and wheat give low returns, high input cost, and income stagnation. Whereas when you move towards high value crops, they offer better prices, export potential, processing industries, and more income per hectare. And this helps double farmer income as well as crop diversification. The key crops targeted here are coconut. India is the world's largest producer. Around 3 crore people depend on it. The proposed scheme is Coconut Promotion Scheme, which replaces old trees, new saplings, increase productivity, and improve competitiveness. The second is the cocoa and cashew. The goal is to self-reliance in raw materials and reduce imports. It will benefit food processing growth, chocolate and confectionery industries, and export earnings. The third is the sandalwood to promote cultivation, post-harvest processing, and restore sandalwood ecosystem. So the benefits here would be high-value timber, perfume or essential oils, and finally export potential. Now, if we will look into the regional crops, which is the agar trees in northeastern areas, then almonds, walnuts, and pine nuts in hilly areas. See, these are region specific agriculture support. The next article is Post Sindoor Major Boost for Defense. See, the Union budget has given a historic increase to defense spending, allocating around 7.85 lakh crore rupees, which is the highest ever given. And the major emphasis here are military modernization, indigenous production, national security preparedness, and finally self-reliance, which is Atmanirbhar Bharat. And this comes in the backdrop of recent security challenges and emergency procurements. Why such a high allocation? The reasons are security threats, need for modern equipment, emergency procurements, technological warfare like AI, drones, and cyber, and self reliance strategy. The strategic shift here is from import heavy defense to domestic defense production. The next article is Budget allocates 6,000 crore for census exercise. Now, why is census important? Because census provides population data, demographic trends, migration patterns, literacy and employment statistics. And this is used for welfare schemes, delimitation, resource allocation and policy planning. So, this is the foundation for evidence-based governance. The next article is More Money and New Schemes for Livestock and Fisheries Sectors. Why focus on livestock and fisheries? It is important because these are high income generating activities, less land dependent, and suitable for small and marginal farmers. They provide regular cash flow, create rural jobs, support women and SHGs, and reduce agricultural risk. And this is important for income diversification. See, the budget has proposed an integrated development of reservoirs, which is around 500 reservoirs and Amrit Sarovars to be developed. This is to boost inland fisheries production. Next, for the support of entrepreneurs involving startups, women-led groups, and fish farmer producer organization, this is to promote collective marketing, better bargaining power, and rural entrepreneurship. See, for animal husbandry, they are providing credit-linked subsidy program, that is loans plus subsidy support, and this will encourage livestock-based businesses. The next article for the day, booster shot for education and skilling. See, the overall education allocation has been increased to 1.39 lakh crore rupees, which is the growth of around 14.21%. And this shows higher priority to human capital development. Now, if you look into the school education reforms, number one is Atal Tinkering Labs. Allocation is 500 to 3,200 crore, which is high jump. And the purpose is innovation mindset, robotics, AI, coding exposure, and STEM learning. This encourages creativity and problem solving among children. The second one is Samagra Siksha. The allocation is increased by 4,100 crore rupees and it covers infrastructure, teachers, digital learning, and inclusive education. The third is Kendriya Vidyalayas. Kendriya Vidyalaya Sangathan. Extra 600 rupees crore have been given and the purpose is quality public schooling. When you look into the PM Poshan, the midday meal, here there is an increase of rupees 2,150 crores. The purpose is nutrition, attendance, and reduced dropouts. See, with respect to higher education, something known as university townships. 5 university townships near industrial and logistical corridors are announced. The purpose here are industry academia link, research and jobs both should go hand in hand, and skilled workforce for industries. Majorly, education should be aligned with economic clusters. See, there is also an announcement of one girls hostel per district. And the purpose is to improve girls' participation in STEM, that is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, to ensure gender inclusion. See, there is something known as a content creator labs. This is regarding this orange economy and stuff, and around 15,000 schools and 500 colleges will have content creator labs. And they will focus on animation, VFX, gaming, and comics, AVGC sector or orange economy. The next article is Marginal Hike for Social Justice and Tribal Affairs. Here, the most important one is the scheme for economic empowerment of denotified tribes. Nothing but a seed scheme. Okay, the allocation is increased from 61 crore rupees to 101 crore rupees, which is a 64% increase. The purpose here are livelihood, employment, and housing, and it targets one of the most vulnerable groups. So, look into the seed scheme. See, the next article is schemes to support livelihood, assistive devices for persons with disabilities. See, two new schemes for persons with disabilities to improve employment opportunities, skill development, and access to assistive devices have been announced. The first scheme is Divyagyan's Kaushal Yojana. The purpose is to provide skill training for persons with disabilities, provide employable skills, and enable dignified livelihoods. The focus areas are vocational training, entrepreneurship, and job readiness. The second scheme is Divyang Sahara Yojana. The purpose is to provide timely access to assistive devices. How? By assistive technology marts, modern retail style centers, and the devices may include wheelchairs, hearing aids, prosthetics, and smart assistive watch. And why it is important? Because assistive devices improve mobility, enhance independence, and enable education and work participation. This supports social inclusion. See, the next important article here is rare earth corridors to cut China imports. See, the states identified here are Odisha, Kerala, Andhra Pradesh, and Tamil Nadu. The aim is to promote mining, processing, research, and manufacturing of critical minerals. What are rare earth elements? Rare earths are groups of 17 metals and they are used in advanced technology like electric vehicles, wind turbines, defense equipment, smartphones, hard drives, missiles, and radars. And they are strategic minerals because they are not very rare but difficult to extract and process. See, the current situation is imports are rising in India and over 45% come from China alone. And the problem is we are facing supply vulnerability, geopolitical risk, and trade pressure. See, China leads this because of not just resources but strong mining capacity, advanced refining technology, large scale processing, and research ecosystem. And the global share of China here is around 60% of production happens there, 92% of refining capacity, and 30% of exports. And they control entire value chain. Now, what are rare earth corridors? These are dedicated industrial zones that include mining sites, processing plants, research labs, and manufacturing hubs. Now, why corridors? Because they are integrated development, faster approvals, infrastructure support, value chain creation. Now, why these four states alone have been chosen? The reasons are they have beach sand minerals, monazite deposits, heavy mineral sands, especially Odisha and Kerala coastlines and Tamil Nadu deposits, and Andhra Pradesh has reserves. So there is a natural research advantage here. So the expected benefits are strategic, like reduce China dependence, supply security, defense readiness. And in terms of economy, import substitution, export potential, new industries, job creation. And in terms of technology, R&D capacity and clean energy manufacturing. Budget bets on duty cuts in new clean energy push. Now what is that announced? See, in solar sector, sodium antimonate, which is used for solar glass, the duty has been cut from 7.5% to 0%. So this ensures cheaper solar module production. So you must be knowing about this sodium antimonate. The second is the battery sector. Capital goods for lithium ion battery manufacturing has been exempted, and this will support electric vehicles and battery energy storage system. The third is for nuclear sector. The components for nuclear reactors are also exempted, including critical equipment like observer rods, and this will reduce the cost of nuclear power projects. See, you must also remember that we have recently passed this Shanti Act targeting the small modular reactors and at least 5 operational by 2033, and there has been an allocation for that. Department of Atomic Energy alone has received 38,422 crore rupees. See, this is a very important mission that we are going to see. Semiconductor Mission 2.0 unveiled, electronics parts scheme outlay doubled. Now, what is this India Semiconductor Mission 2.0? See, initially we had 1.0 with an outlay of 76,000 crore rupees, which is focused on chip fabrication, that is fabs, assembly and testing. Now, the 2.0 goals here are to produce semiconductor equipment and materials, develop full stack Indian chip design, strengthen supply chains, that is, move from partial to complete ecosystem. The other one is the electronics component manufacturing scheme. Earlier, the allocation was around 22,000 crore. Now it is 40,000 crores, almost double. Now, why it is increased? Because investment commitments already double the target, and high industry interest is there, and government wants to utilize that kind of a momentum. The next article for the day, 20,000 crore rupees earmarked for carbon capture storage scheme. Now, what is CCUS? It is a technology to capture, that is, collect carbon dioxide from power plants, cement factories, steel plants, and refineries, and utilize or store. Either reuse carbon dioxide like chemicals, fuels, or building materials, or store underground permanently. That is, prevents carbon dioxide from entering the atmosphere. Now, why is this needed? Some industries are hard to abate sectors like steel, cement, fertilizers, heavy industry. These cannot fully switch to renewables, still need fossil fuels. So the solution is CCUS allows emissions reduction without shutting industries. See the next article for the day, 7 rail corridors get green signal. See, these are not just rail corridors, but they are new high-speed rail corridors. Now, what are high-speed rail corridors? High-speed rail means trains running at very high speeds like bullet or semi-bullet kind of train, much shorter travel times, modern infrastructure. The purpose here are faster passenger movement, economic connectivity, decongest roads and flights. Now, 7 corridors are announced. Majorly, the routes connect important metros like Mumbai, Pune, Hyderabad, Chennai, Bangalore. And the travel time reduction is very low. Like from Chennai to Bangalore, it's only 1.5 hours. And from Bangalore to Hyderabad, it is 2 hours. Okay. So such is the reduction of in the travel time. See, around 1.2 lakh crore rupees have been allocated for track upgrades, new coaches, modern locomotives, overhead electrification, also Kavach system, that is the indigenous automatic train protection. All these, the allocation is around 1.2 lakh crore rupees. See, now why are these corridors very important? Because they boost trade, reduce logistic cost, improve business connectivity. See, if you look in terms of regional development, they connect tier 2 and tier 3 cities, and they also attract investment because infrastructure acts as growth multiplier. See, this is another highlight, that is container making inland waterways on a new course. Major steps to strengthen coastal shipping, inland waterways, and container manufacturing, mainly to improve India's logistics efficiency and trade competitiveness. Around 10,000 crore for container manufacturing alone, and expansion of inland waterways. Okay. Now, why focus on shipping and waterways? Because India's cargo transport share is mostly on road and rail. Waterways share only 6%, and the problems are high logistics cost, like around 13 to 14% of GDP, and it is fuel intensive and it also congests roads. So waterways gives advantage like cheaper, they are energy efficient, eco-friendly, and suitable for bulk cargo. Now, when you look into this container manufacturing 10,000 crore allocation, the purpose is to make containers in India and to reduce import dependence and create domestic ecosystem, because containers are essential for global trade and they are needed for exports and imports. Because COVID showed that shortage of containers disrupts trade. So we want to ensure that self-reliance in logistics infrastructure. And with respect to inland waterways, the plan is to operationalize 20 new national waterways and to start with Brahmani and Mahanadi waterway. And the importance is this route connects mining centers and links industrial hubs, and they also feed major ports. See, new dedicated freight corridor has also been announced from Dankuni in east to Surat in west. The purpose is faster cargo movement and to reduce transit time. See, the next article is Buddhist circuits hiking trails to put tourism on growth path. See, this budget views tourism as an employment and local growth engine and has announced several initiatives to improve tourist infrastructure, train skilled manpower, promote cultural and ecotourism, and boost regional economy and especially the Northeast. The first one is the skill development in tourism, which is the most important one. Training of tourist guides, around 10,000 guides and at 20 iconic tourist sites. The purpose here are professional services, better visitor experience and employment generation. So this will improve quality of tourism services. The second is National Institute of Hospitality, a new institute for tourism professionals and hospitality training. The focus here are skill development and global standards, and this will build skilled workforce for hotels, resorts and travel industry. The other one is the digital initiatives, National Destination Digital Knowledge Grid. Now what is it? It is a digital database of cultural, spiritual and historical sites. The purpose are easy information access, better planning and digital promotion, and this will support smart tourism. See, Buddhist circuits in Northeast, the states covered are Arunachal Pradesh, Sikkim, Assam, Manipur, Mizoram and Tripura. And why it is important? Because it has rich Buddhist heritage and it attracts international pilgrims, especially Southeast Asia. The next is the heritage tourism, development of archaeological sites like Lothal, Dholavira, Rakhigarh, Sarnath and Leh Palace. The next one is the ecotourism and nature trails. What they proposed here are mountain trails like Himachal, Uttarakhand and Jammu and Kashmir, valley trails like Arakul and Western Ghats trekking, turtle nesting trails and bird watching trails. The purpose is sustainable tourism and nature conservation, and this will also promote green tourism. The next important article for the day is what the new fiscal rule means for growth and spending. See, India's fiscal policy is guided by rules under the Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Act 2003. The Union government has recently modified its fiscal rule framework, shifting focus from fiscal deficit to controlling debt to GDP ratio. The target is debt to GDP ratio should be around 50% by 2031. While this gives more flexibility, it has also led to cuts in development spending, especially in rural and agriculture sectors. Now, what do you mean by fiscal deficit? That is government spending minus government revenue. So, primary deficit, fiscal deficit minus interest payments. And what do you mean by debt to GDP ratio? Which means total government debt plus GDP. So, this shows sustainability of borrowing. So, lower ratio means it is safer finances. Now, what changed in the new fiscal rule? In earlier FRBM model, the target is fiscal deficit control, strict limits on borrowing, and the debt target was around 40%. Now, the target is based on debt to GDP ratio and the debt is allowed up to 50%, which means more borrowing flexibility. Government gets more fiscal space. Now, what is the government strategy for financial year 27? To reduce debt ratio, government plans to reduce deficits. That is fiscal deficit from 4.4% to 4.3% and the primary deficit from 0.8 to 0.7%. How? By cutting expenditure but not by raising revenue. Now, what is the revenue side problem? Non-debt receipts are falling. That is, tax collection as percentage of GDP has reduced. GST and indirect taxes have also been declined, which means government has less money. So, deficit reduction is done by cutting the spending. Now, where are cuts happening? Majorly, capital expenditure, it is almost unchanged, which is good for growth. When you look into revenue expenditure, that is being reduced. Biggest cut here is the development expenditure. Development expenditure includes rural development, agriculture and social sector. Now, development spending has been reduced from 6.1% to 5.7% of GDP. When you look into the rural and agriculture, it is reduced from 1.5% to 1.2%. Now, how will be the impact on growth? When you look into the positive side, it will ensure fiscal discipline, debt sustainability, stable macroeconomy and higher capital expenditure, that is infrastructure. Whereas on the negative side, It is reduced rural demand, less support for farmers, lower consumption, and weak stimulus for private investment. See, two key concerns are raised here. The first concern is investment slowdown because corporate investment is already low and government not providing strong stimulus. Okay. The second concern is distribution issue because this cuts affect poor and rural sector and corporate taxes are unchanged and burden falls on vulnerable groups. See, the last article for the day in this faith, Guru Ravidas, Voice of Dalits. See, Guru Ravidas was a 15th to 16th century Bhakti saint, poet, and a social reformer known for raising a powerful voice against caste discrimination, ritualism, and social oppression. A contemporary of Kabir and believed to have interacted with Guru Nanak, and he became an important figure of the Bhakti movement and later an icon of Dalit assertion and equality. When you look into the social background of Ravidas, he was born in a family of leather turners and it was considered lower caste then, and he continued his profession with dignity and called his work Kirit, which is honest labor. So the message here is no occupation is inferior, and this directly challenged caste hierarchy and notions of purity and pollution. So the core teachings of Ravidas are equality of all humans. All are equal before God, no caste superiority. The second is the rejection of ritualism. He opposed Brahminical dominance, dogma, superstitions, and empty rituals. The third is devotion, that is bhakti, emphasized personal devotion to God and God seen as nirguna, that is formless, without attributes. He focused on inner spirituality, not external rituals. So, if you look into the literary contribution of Guru Ravidas, 41 hymns included in Guru Granth Sahib and his works also included in Dadupanthi text. And this shows influence beyond one religion like Hindu and Sikh traditions. He also have a vision of ideal society which is known as Behampura meaning city without sorrow. He imagined no caste discrimination, no taxes, no oppression, no suffering and no inequality. This is seen as a nearly concept of social justice, casteless society and egalitarian order. His followers included Mirabai, Queen Jalhanbai, Raja Nagarmel and also common mass. So the regions of impact here are Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan and Maharashtra. And today he is seen as symbol of Dalit identity and empowerment. So that's all for today. Thank you all for joining.